Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Okay, so we'll just, this is going to be a unique year. So let's get ready for it by just doing a very calming meditation. So everybody, if you just put your feet flat on the floor, close your eyes, and take a nice deep breath. And follow the sound of my voice. Each one of you is a child of the Creator. And I want you to feel that. Feel a warm light surrounding you. A light of love, a light of joy, a light of happiness. And as you feel this light around you, let it engulf you so your whole body starts to tingle. The energy of the Mother, Father, God can be felt by anyone. Let it flow. Know that you are the center of your universe. And as you feel the vibration, allow it to flow in and through the bottom of your feet. Let God's energy flow up your entire body, from your feet to your knees, and feel it. Feel the energy flowing up your legs, up into your body. And as that energy flows up through your body, feel it releasing all the pain, anger, frustration, all of the negativity that you have been feeling this week. Let all this wonderful energy flow up, just flow up from God. And feel, if you've had stomach pains, give them up to God. If you've had worry or heartbreak, let it be released. If there's an anger you want to talk about, you want to yell and scream, let it go. And say, here, Creator, please take this. And then as you feel the energy flowing up into your head, shut down that brain that's going na 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 na. Just let energy flow through of love and happiness and peace. And when you get to the very top of your head, know that this is the closest to the Spirit that you will reach. And let all of that energy flow in that's positive, so that you can stop worrying. You personally cannot change what's going on right now in the world, but you can support the positive energy by thinking loving, positive thoughts. And all of the things that are part of you that are negative, just see them flowing. Wherever you visualize Creator, see all the negative flowing in that direction. And when you're done, take a nice deep breath and feel happy, joyful, and a lot lighter. So as you walk out today of this room, you're going to be excited, interested, and so delighted with life. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the room. You can listen to the wonderful Tim.
The light of the world is something anyone can choose to be. Knowing who and what we are is the key. Spirit expressing in through and dance, cursing the darkness won't do a thing to help us find our way through the confusion and into a better day. Let's try lighting a candle instead. The healing always begins with a new understanding and a release, knowing that it's done in the mind of the infinite. It's good enough to be true. Love and compassion for everyone are necessities. If we just think of them as luxuries, then humanity cannot survive. The light of the world is something anyone can choose to be. Knowing who and what we are is the key. And letting it be our way. And letting it be our way. And letting it be our way.
Okay, and just take a nice deep breath and just bring that in. Thank you, Tim. That was gorgeous, and that's written by you.
Depends on the reaction.
Yes.
Yes, we loved it.
Great job.
Yay, I agree. That was wonderful. Thank you so very much. Well, as you notice, we have tables up again this week, and there is going to be a potluck later on, and you're invited to stay if you want, because Billy DeFrank is celebrating New Year, and we are always excited to be here and have new people come in. And when the new people get here that you haven't met before, just introduce yourself. I was delighted that last week somebody says, "Hi, what's your name?" I said, "Dottie," and they said, "What are your pronouns?" And I said, "She, her." And they said, "Great." I thought, what a wonderful way to meet somebody. What are they going through? What's happening? That makes people stop and think of, how do I define myself? So it's going to be interesting to see new people coming in that we haven't met before. Yes?
Yeah, I was thinking that her, she You know, that just makes you think of chocolate.
Yeah, it certainly does. It reminds you. Thank you so very much. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now, and so that's what some of the things that we're going to be addressing. And I know now, if you didn't get your card to ask questions of my spirit guide Ma, please do, because especially those of you that are sitting at tables, because you can write down questions that you would like my spirit guide to answer. When I talk about spirit guides, so many people go, what is that all about? And what my spirit guide's name is Mahalalel, and what Ma says is that God wouldn't just put us on the planet and say, just go. Each one of you has what the people have said are guardian angels, spirits that are helping you, beings that are here, and every one of you has at some time felt that. At some time you have felt not alone. Honor that. Honor that energy that you have within you. And today we're going to be talking quite a bit about that before I start asking for predictions. But I just want to let you know, each one of you has a guidance, whatever you want to call it. That little voice that talks to you. Now, if that little voice says you're no good, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about that little voice that says you are positive, loving, a wonderful human being. That voice that helps you through many difficulties, that little voice that talks to you, okay? Through the ages, we know that there have been people who talked to spirit. We have seen pictures on the walls of caves built by people that were just one step away from Neanderthal. But that was the difference. As we started progressing, we became aware that we're not alone. And they had pictures of hands on the cave walls. They're now finding most of those pictures of hands were female. They had always thought they were the men getting ready to go out and hunt, but they're finding it's the women who were staying there, who were talking to spirit. And so it makes sense that the first spirit that women started talking to, and men, was the goddess. And you'll see wonderful pictures of the goddess, and she's usually big busted, big bellied, because she's pregnant with life. Yes, Brianna?
I just wanted at some point to offer this poem I came across called The Summons, if there's its point, because it supports, I don't know what you're saying.
It supports what I'm saying right now. Mm-hmm. I can just take a breath and let you come up to this microphone. How's that?
This poem.
This is Brianna, and she's a minister at UCM.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This poem came across my Facebook feed, probably because I'm friends with people like Winona LaDuke, who's an indigenous activist. And I don't know who it's by, so I'm going to have to find that out. But it's called The Summons. And I'll speak it as best I remember it. I dreamt last night that 10,000 grandmothers came and stepped into the gap in one breath between the bullet and the skin, between the bomb and the people and the family. They said, we cannot wait for the governments. There are no peacekeepers boarding planes. There are no leaders who will say, every life is precious. And so we must be the ones. And we will cup each heart and sing the song of the earth, the song of water, a song so beautiful that vengeance will turn to weeping. and the mourners will embrace, and grief replace every motivation towards harm. 10,000 is not enough, they said. And so we have sent this stream like 1,000 doves into the sleep of the world.
Thank you so much for sharing that, yes. And the women were considered the peacekeepers for many, many, many years. So but after we had the goddesses representative of spirit, and then we started moving forward into so many different areas around the world, where the worshiping of the unknown, whether it came about by people that we were called sages or prophets, they might have been called indigenous leaders, and sometimes they'll use the word witch doctor, which is kind of a negative connotation. But so many people have been sent to us to be supportive of us from our ancestors. Okay? So when you think about, you're not alone. You have an ancestry, like our minister Brianna was saying, or think about the fact that you're not alone because the Creator said we're going to send help. There's always help if you just open up and receive it. And how do you know that you've got a spirit guide? Have you ever thought of that? You get a tingly feeling. Any of you walk along and someday you're worried about something and all of a sudden you get kind of a tingly feeling, like, well, maybe there's somebody there to help me. Or you start seeing signs. Many of my clients say, I keep seeing the number 1222. What does that mean? I say, how often do you see it? And they said, I've seen it 3 times today. I said, that's your spirit guide trying to get your attention. How many objects do you see over and over? You might all of a sudden be aware of the color purple. And you hadn't noticed it that much, but it seemed that everybody was wearing purple that day. That's your guide saying, wake up. I'm here. I want to help you. And so at that point, you can say, who's talking to me? And you will hear either a name, or you'll get a feeling, or you have an emotion that you know isn't yours. It's been given to you by Spirit. And those are the things that I feel are so important for you to know, that you're being guided. This isn't something to be afraid of. You're not going to be taken over. Nobody can take you over unless you give them permission. And that's why there's a problem with people doing too much alcohol or too many drugs, where they're not aware and they give up. They give permission for a being to take them over. Now that's completely negative and not what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about that spiritual energy that we get from God. Okay, so we want to talk a little bit more about that, especially as we go into 2024. Okay, that's why I had you all get cards to fill out for predictions, because 2024 is going to be a roller coaster. Thank you. I didn't know I was going to hear a trumpet on that one.
God calling.
The God calling. That is great. And think of, if we've had prophets around for all these centuries, why don't you have one talking to you? You do. So let's start looking at that, because there are so many ways that you can work with your spirit guide once you start hearing it. What did people do to get into divination? And that's what it's called, when you use something else to be able to talk to spirit or talk to your guide. Divination. And some cultures used water. They'd pour out water, and as it swirled around, they'd follow the form of the water, and they could see in the face of the water a being. and that was their guide. Some cultures use smoke. How many of you have heard of people using smoke in indigenous? And what they would do is they would see pictures in the smoke, and they go, "Oh, that's our guide," because so many indigenous groups felt that their particular tribe, group, assemblage was taken care of by a spirit, and they would name it. And so when you start reading more about the history of who we are as humans, you'll run across this. And it started out, we have, as I mentioned, the oracle at Delphi, which was a prophetess. I love that, a female prophet has a name. And you would go and they would talk to her about the outcome of wars, about what was going about, what they should be doing. But they've had prophets ever since we started, and that's why we know this, because of the handprints with the tick marks around them on cave walls. And so you are not the only person that has felt, seen, become aware of. When I was little, they taught me the prayer, "Now I lay me down to sleep." Yeah, come on, you know it. "Now I lay me down to sleep. Pray the Lord keep." Yeah. Before I wake.
I pray the Lord my soul today.
Right. Now, were you praying to the Lord, or were you praying to what you thought the Lord was? When you were learning this prayer at 2, 3, 4 years old, whatever, there was an energy. You could feel it. What happened to that energy? You stopped believing in it. You stopped thinking that you were good enough to have a guide with you. Okay? There's a time when we stop believing. Start believing again. Because this year, you need it. Okay? And when I'm talking about this year, you need it, it's because when I started talking to my spirit guide, Ma, and I said, "What's going on this coming year?" And he said, "You're going to have more tsunamis than you've had before." What is a tsunami? It's an earthquake underneath the water. Mother Earth is shuddering. That's pretty basic when the land we stand on is shuddering. And the water that is being upheavaled, I think there's a better word for that, but everything is sloshing around. I don't think Mother Earth is in fear as much as saying, "Come on, let's get things together." And because that psychics have practiced divination for centuries, particularly in places like the Bible, there's so many times that there was a divination of things that were coming, especially in the Old Testament. So for those of you who were raised with the Bible, realize how many prophets there were, telling people, telling groups what is coming, what they should do, how they should be. We need to have you get in touch with your own singular prophet, because your guide is there just for you. So when you think about that, I personally have been seeing things all my life because my guide came to me when I was 5. And when he started talking to me, I just thought it was fun. Here I am in my playhouse, and this being comes in and sits down, starts talking to me. "Hey, goody, a person just for me." I always been one of these people that the more people, the better. And I was excited to have someone who was talking to me at that age. And I utilized that energy to be able to talk to spirit all over the world. And one of the most interesting ones was when we were in Glastonbury, and at the Glastonbury Abbey, it was built in 803. I mean, one of those newly constructed abbeys. So we're
see the deed.
Yeah, we were walking along, and all of a sudden I heard crying But the hearing of it was that this was not a real person. It had that tingly feeling of somebody in spirit. And I stopped and I said, "What's going on?" And this little male said, "I'm scared." I said, "Who are you?" He said, "Brian." I said, "Brian, what are you scared of?" He said, I can't go anywhere." I said, "What?" He said, "I can't go to heaven." And I said, "Brian, why can't you go to heaven?" "Because I'm no good." And I said, "Who told you you were no good?" And he said, "The priests." I said, "Why were you no good? Why are you no good?" He said, "Because I'm a bastard." And I said, "But you are a beautiful spirit. Your mom and dad didn't have to be married for you to be a beautiful spirit." And he's still. And if you can imagine visualizing a spirit of a small child, about 11, just crying. And I said to Corky, she said, "What's happening?" And I said, "Well, we got this spiritual kid, Brian, and he's sitting here under, leaning against the abbey, and he wants to go to heaven, and he died many centuries ago." And she said, "Okay, well, let's take him with us." So we went back to the room, and the room was upstairs at the Georgian Pilgrim in Glastonbury. And on the drapes was a red, white, and blue butterfly. How many of you have ever seen a red, white, and blue butterfly? It was my first. And I went, and of course those are Great Britain's colors too, so I was like, oh. And it was dying. And you know how a butterfly dies and its little wings are just trembling. And I said, "Come on." So I took the butterfly. And I said, "Brian, you're going with us." And we all went out, and I took the butterfly and I put it on a limb of the tree. And I said, "When this butterfly passes, you go with it, okay?" And he said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes." And the butterfly just kind of went, and he went, and Corky says, "Are they gone?" I said, "Why?" She said, "I could feel it." What happened there? Somebody said, "Well, you could have made all that up." I'm a good storyteller, but I couldn't have made that up. It was one of the most amazing things. Start looking for that energy, and you're going to feel it because it's tingly. And do you all know what tingly means? It's the first time you met the love of your life and you knew it was. You just kind of get, it's the first time you see something you've never seen before. It was, for me, it was like the first time I saw a bald eagle. I don't know why. I read about them, but I'd never seen one. And I looked up in this tree, and there was a bald eagle. And I get tingly. And when my guide talks to me about things, I just get tingly. Think of that. That's a good way to define you getting in touch with your spirit or a spiritual energy. And start looking at it. Because whether you consider yourself a mystic or not, you all are. How do I know that? Because you're here today. You're coming to a spiritualist church. And that's what it's about. It's about spirit and spirituality. So just know that you're in the right place, okay? How did we start getting in touch with spirituality? Here in the United States, it was the Fox sisters. They were mediums, and they worked with Abraham Lincoln. I mean, there was a lot of energy going on around with these women. And some people said they were charlatans, other people said they were saints. We don't know for sure how we would have judged them if we were there at that time, but we do know that they were mediums that were bringing in energy from spirit guides and spirits, and we're talking to them. So if you haven't read about the Fox sisters, please do. There's a lot of good stuff that went on with what they were doing.
Is that F-A-L-K, Falk?
Fox, F-O-X.
Oh, Fox, okay.
Yeah. No, don't make it any more difficult. Thank you, Brianna, for asking that. So there are so many things that we know that are out there. And we know there's guides helping us. But as we get more, I want to say, sophisticated, we start thinking, that's not true. That's just a bunch of baloney. This happened so many centuries ago, or this just happened when people were drunk or using too many drugs. There's no such thing as spirit. You can feel it. I don't have to tell you how, but you can feel it. Because we know that those people who worked with the indigenous beings weren't as prejudiced as we are nowadays. Do you realize that in our First Nation people, that they had 5 genders? They had female, female, male, male, female, male, male, female, and transgender. And each one was accepted for just who they were. There wasn't anything that said, oh no, you're no good, because they were just totally accepted. And how we've gotten so far away from that, I don't know. It's so much easier when we think of fluid gender. That's one of the reasons why I started out today talking about what are your pronouns? Because people are finding different ways of identifying themselves. So think about that and stay around today for the potluck. And I see food is coming in. There's our wonderful Gabrielle. And stop just a minute with your hands full, Gabrielle. If people don't know who you are, this is Gabrielle. She's the head of the Billy DeFrank Center. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, and you're now on camera, Gabrielle.
I am?
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the Billy DeFrank Center. We have deliberately added very healthy food like salads with chicken and fruit and hard-boiled eggs. If you want to start your food revolution for the new year.
Right.
But there's also other stuff.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. And Jose, hello. This is a man who is going to be our DJ today. Thank you so very much for coming in. So, as you can see, we've got a party being planned, and we want you to stay around for it, okay? Okay. No. Now, one of the things that when I asked Ma, what's going to be happening this coming year? And he's the one that said, hold on. He said, there is going to be extreme heat. The world is not cooling down, it's heating up. He says, this is a time to be aware that you are going to have to find a way to stay cool, because things are just getting hotter and hotter. And he says that you can complain about it, you can argue about it, or you can accept it. And you're going to hear that today from my spirit guide a lot. How good are you at balancing things? And don't try telling everybody else how they should live their life. You have heard me talk about arguing. Arguing does not change anybody's mind. I've had so many people already say, but they can't stop. They are doing whatever it is you're going to tell them they can't do. And you're telling them it is not going to stop them. A woman called and said, I have to give up my whole family. They're all interested in blank, and I can't talk to them. I said, then listen. You'd be amazed. You might learn something. Yeah, but no, I don't want to hear what they do. I want to know how you can work at handling your life so you're not angry and mad at everybody. And you know what her response was? It's easy for you to say. It's like, yes, It is, because that's the way I am. And then I hear, yes, but you don't know what it's like to. And yes, I do. I'm the eldest of 10 kids. Anything you tell me, one of my siblings has or is doing or will be doing. Trust me, we have one of everything in my family. And isn't that a great way to find out things? Ask somebody a question and sit down and listen. Don't sit down and argue. And don't say, well, that's stupid, that's not true. Just listen to what they have to say. Because sometimes when you listen, the person explaining it to you realizes what they're saying isn't quite what they thought they had heard. So just sit down and talk to people. Okay, and as Ma is still talking about the desalinization of the ocean. Yes,
You want me
Ricky?
to pick up the cards?
Yeah, you can if you want. Has everybody asked the prediction for something? Okay, we'll just take about 3 minutes here for those of you on Zoom.
If you don't have them, that's fine.
If you don't have a card, that's fine.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Here, yeah. Okay, we're trying to find out where Amanda's folks are. And so what the prediction cards you give to me, and Ma's going to be answering them. Because we have so many things that are going on that you've probably felt or you've sensed. And this, I talked about heat. The environmental cost of what's happening with the wars that we have. There again, you can say to your neighbor or to your loved ones, they can't be doing that. What does that help? Find a way to help, not a time to tell people what they can or can't do. If you're convinced that one side or the other should be winning, put them in prayer. Find out how you can support whoever you believe in. Don't keep telling people what they can't do. I don't know how many of you are parents, but if you tell a kid don't put beans up your nose, what are they gonna do?
It must be the funnest thing to try.
It must be, because I have more parents saying, and the next thing I had to take him to emergency to get a bean out of his nose.
Yep.
And that's the way we are as people. You tell us don't do something, and we go, what's in this for me? Maybe I should try grass. Maybe I should drink something else. Maybe I should have sex when I'm 14. Just realize the minute you say don't, the ears pop up, and somebody goes, really? Instead, start listening. And if it doesn't make sense to you, so what? There's a lot of things in the world that don't make sense. When somebody tells me how many light years something is away from the world as I know it, I can no more conceive of a light year than fly. It doesn't mean that it's not true. My father was an astronomer. You know, he was always talking about light years. So the biggest issue that my guide says that we have right now is that we don't accept anybody else for who they are and what they're doing. We want to make them right. And what is right? Right is the way we think. So I'm just saying this, you know, I know that I'm here talking to people I've spoke to before. I'm singing to the choir because this is very much one of the things I talk about. Anyway, are you ready? So here we go. The question is, what does Mother Earth want from us? And what my guide says is, Mother Earth wants us to stop drilling holes in her that she can't reclaim. Meaning, if you dig a little bit of a well, you abandon the well, you come back 20 years later, it's all it's fallen apart and it's going back to Mother Earth. But if you dig some of the wells that they're digging that are so deep Mother Earth can't recover. So think about, that's what Mother Earth wants from us, is to stop doing things she can't recover from. So every time you hear about something that you don't really agree with, there you go, oh, the reason I don't is because Mother Earth can't recover from it. That might be something that you hold as a belief that you want to work on and join a group that's doing something about it. How are the birds doing now? The birds are still having some problems. And one of the things is that people aren't planting things that are indigenous to the planet enough, so the birds aren't getting the seeds and the things that they need. So what we'd like for them to do is people, even yourself, find a way of having some kind of seed that you can put out that the birds can eat, and you'll find that they're going to be able to grow more, because people have put out too much poison that looks attractive to birds, and there has to be an awareness they can't do that. I think that this person wanted to know, how can I move forward spiritually this year? Everything I've been preaching this morning is how we all can move forward spiritually. And that means that we just stop making other people wrong, see what we can do. And if the people have done you something that you don't feel was right, stop and say, I don't feel that's right. How does that make you feel? No, you want to get even. And stop it. Just say, I don't feel what those people did was correct or right, and I'm going to find a way to bless it and release it so I'm not angry. You getting angry doesn't do anything except give you an ulcer, so let's just, we'll look at that one. Okay, and this is, somebody is asking, is my lover all mine? And my guide says, your lover has been all yours from the very beginning of your relationship. Please don't worry about it. I don't see anything here that says you're in a relationship with somebody where it's not going to work out. Will AIDS Memorial work out? That one I'm not too sure. Ma says that we have been working so much at working with AIDS and know that we've kind of got it like we've been doing all the different viruses. We know more about it. I don't know about, Ma doesn't know about the memorial, so you might want to talk to me afterwards and we can discuss it. And this person wants to know if their health is going to be better. And yes, and please start planning some travel for next year in the June time, because we see that you're going to be feeling a lot better after the cold weather goes away. And so if May is warm, plan on looking at traveling in May. But we definitely see that there's going to be some travel that's going to be good for you, and that feels great. The other thing is, will the U.S. be dragged into the war in Israel? The U.S. already is. You are not aware, I guess. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Please have a seat.
These are my parents.
Yes, I can tell. They're beautiful people. Okay, we're doing predictions, and so we're glad to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and that somebody's wanting to know whether the U.S. is going to be drawn into the war in Israel. And Ma says we're already involved in the war in Israel. So what you need to do is start putting out prayers. Start putting out prayers. We've got so many wars going on, and God is part of our energy, okay? So you're not separate from God. You just don't realize you've got God on your side. Now, the other side is the people in Palestine feel like they have God on their side. The people in various countries, everybody feels God's on their side. So what you want to do is say, God, please let's calm down the energy. When there's fighting going on, it's hard to appreciate that you're a child of God. So think about that. You through prayer. But if you're fighting with your wife or you're fighting with your husband or kids, you're at war. You can't tell another country to stop being at war if you're not at war in your family. So just think about that. War starts at home. Peace starts at home. And I had someone said, well, I'm not going to talk to my Aunt Jane ever again because she kept my mother's gravy boat and won't give it to me. We've got a war over a gravy boat. And what do? You say, I know it's wonderful you have that gravy boat. Just bless it. Don't get caught up in who needs what. How many of us need a gravy boat these days? I haven't been made gravy since Kentucky Colonel came on board, you know? So just think of this, that you are in a war sometimes with yourself. How many of you have ever been at war with yourself? How many have ever gone on a diet? That's at war with yourself as far as I'm concerned, you know? So think about that, okay? Think about what you're doing to support and help yourself. The homeless situation, there again, how many of you have helped somebody who's homeless? You can't wait for the government to do it all, okay? And sometimes help is just driving by, seeing somebody that's sitting on the corner, they're down and out. Don't go, they should get a job, they shouldn't be using drugs, don't should all over them, okay? Stop and say, are you hungry? Here, give them $5. Give them what you can afford. If you give them more than you can afford, then later on you resent it. You say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. No, give them what you can afford. And you'll find that that is going to start helping. So many people are turning their backs on the homeless. They never used to. I'm old enough to remember hobos. Anybody else remember hobos? Then they used to put hex signs on their barn, which said, you can sleep in our barn and we'll give you food. I don't know what happened, but after the Second World War, that went away. So think about that. What would have happened if you could just do a little outreach? You can start helping it. And I think that where crime is going to go down when people stop being needy. But you have to decide how you can look at it. They want to know if their business is going to do better in 2024. Yes. 2024 is going to be helping everybody economically, if you let it. The interest rates are going to go down. There's going to be time. More people are going to be making more money. So start looking at what you can do where you feel that financially you're going to be doing better. And you're going to be amazed how much better it's going to get. So don't say to yourself, hey, I'm only making $15 an hour and that's not enough. Say, I'm making $15 an hour right now and I'm making it. And what I'd like to do is add something else. With the internet, every one of you could make some money on a podcast. Just think about it. You can do something very exciting. And so instead of saying, my boss has to give me a raise, say, what else can I do? I've never had just one job in my life. And I started working at 7. So you think about that. Okay, I can add some income and I can do it on my computer. Start looking at that. This person wants to know if they're going to be moving in 2024. Yes, you're going to be moving because you have an idea of a place where you'd rather be. You and your husband need counseling. You can't do it on your own. You keep thinking that you can make this relationship work on your own, but get a couple counseling. I have a person who wants to know if they should retire this year. Yes, because you've got things you want to do. You've got places you want to go. You've got folks you want to see. And heck, retire. Doesn't mean you have to fully retire. You've got a job that you can do some part-time work, volunteer, or just work part-time someplace that they will be paying you some money, but it's not too much money that you lose your retirement. And your health looks like it's getting better. Okay. Somebody asked, what can I do to help us all get along? I think I've covered that. But start looking at what is it that you want to do to get along with someone. Don't ask yourself, what can they do to get along with me? Ask yourself, what can I do to get along with them? Everybody has a place in their heart that you can touch. Everyone. Think about how do you touch somebody's heart? And sometimes just by saying, gee, I like what you're wearing, or I'm so glad to see you today. Even though this is somebody that since 5th grade, you didn't like the look of their face, find something positive to say to them. Okay? Don't walk up and say, hey, it looks like you've gained weight. That's not necessarily a good way to make someone feel good unless they were 90 pounds. They're 95, okay? And helping us all get along is just listening more. Employment, there's change. I don't see you at the same job later this year. Looks like you're going to have the same job through April and into May, but something's going to happen that's going to be different. Your health has got a lot of new things coming up. So my guide says the doctors are going to say that they've got a whole new idea of what's going on with your body. So listen, and if you're not getting the answer you want, find another doctor, because there's something in your body that needs to be looked at. Okay, wait a minute. Chaos in the world, chaos in the country, chaos in San Jose. We've got chaos everywhere. Okay, how do you handle chaos? If you get so turned around about it and upset about it, you're adding to it. Become the nice warm blanket. Think of that. Somebody's going, and you just say, hi, what can I do to help you? That's a nice warm blanket. And you don't go, yeah, okay. Just calm yourself down. You're going to be surprised when you find out how to calm you down. The people you meet are going to be calmer. So think about how you can do that. And is chaos necessary for a new world? No. Peace is. How do you see peace? How does peace look like to you? Start at home. Just think of what in the heck is bothering you and find a way to calm it down. It'll spread. It's like throwing a stone into a lake. The ripples that it makes are peace. And do that just by saying, lower your voice. It's surprising. If your voice is high-pitched, everybody gets upset. If it's loud, they get more upset. And what I used to say to my kids is, hey, what's going on? And they'd come up and say, Mom, I've got a problem. I'd say, okay, let's whisper about it. They'd say, okay. Have you ever thought of whispering about it? Don't you usually say, hey, what the heck are you doing, kid? Let's whisper. Something about whispering calms everybody down. It's kind of neat. Politics is horrible. Right now, Trump's going to win. Okay? And when I say that's horrible, because there's going to be so much anger. You can change the election. If every one of you who says, I would rather have this person win, get out and sign up 5 more people. If everybody was to sign up 5 more people and talk to them, not yell at them, not be angry with them, we can change the election. But right now what's happening is Joe Biden looks like he's got the vote, and our ex-President Trump looks like he has the Electoral College. And that's where we are today. Now, things are going to change because my guide says there's another dark horse coming into the election who hasn't come out yet, and I have no idea what's going on. Remember, a lot of people for the Biden-Harris camp don't want to have a black woman be president. There is a woman being president, no. And so a lot of people aren't voting for Biden because of that. And what you need to point out is with the Congress, with Senate, there are more women than ever before, and that women can run a country. Get educated about what countries are being run by women successfully and start using the logic. But you've got to talk to people. Don't tell them they're wrong. Just listen to them and talk to them.
Dottie, excuse me. Are you saying at the election in 2024,
Right now, the way it sits,
Biden will win the majority of votes, but Trump will win the electoral vote?
Yeah, and so that means that you need to find out how you get a hold of people in the electoral college, and let's start sending things out to them, okay? Personal, I want to talk to you on that in person, okay? The question is, will the slaughter in Gaza end? And the slaughter in Gaza is slowly ending, but it's very slow. We keep getting more countries are going to be getting involved in this, and what my guide says, it is going to end, but it doesn't look like it ends until about March or April. People in other countries, will they rise up for freedom? They're starting to. Let's be supportive. If you know anybody that lives in another country, start talking to them. But right now, start talking to the U.S. The United States is sitting at the, well, my guide says the United States is sitting at the brink of a war. And if you don't want us to be involved in another world war, which it would be, please start talking to people. We've got an election coming up. We've got a lot of things coming up, and each person should be responsible for it. Okay, I don't know who this is. They want to know exercise about your standing balance, ways to balance yourself, please. And we'd love for you to take a ballet class. You can't get any better than ballet for balance. Okay, and I have two more that just came in, and let me wait just a minute. For those of you who just came in, welcome, welcome. I'm Doti Boon, the California Psychic, and we are doing presidential, war, all sorts of different questions from people about what's going on. Will there be a civil war again? Ma says we're already in one. Right now, we've got so many thems in us. We have this as far as gender, we have this as far as race, we have this as far as rich versus poor, we have this, we're at civil war. Find a way to talk to the people you feel are against you. Okay? You're brave enough to do that. If somebody says, I want to talk to you about, I had somebody walk up to me and said, Doti Boon, you're a blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay. And they said, well, I mean, I don't like what you're doing. And I said, okay. And they said, well, I think you should be doing something else. And I said, okay. And they said, well, do you think you could do a psychic reading on me? And I said, okay. What happened? Was I arguing? Was I agreeing? I was saying, okay. Okay is one of the most positive words you can do. If somebody says, don't you think Joe Blow over there is da-da-da-da-da, and you go, okay, meaning I hear you. I don't agree, but I'm not going to argue with you. Okay, I hear you. And it works. Housing prices are gone down because interest rates are dropping. Okay, and the surgery that you're talking about, I don't have a number or anything on this. I don't know who it is. It's going to heal very well. And yes, you will be happy with your current job, but I keep seeing you getting a different job or a raise, because Ma says that job is going to change. I have one here with a heart on it. My guide says start taking classes, and we don't care in what, but you need to take classes in things that make your heart sing. So when I talk about getting tingly, that when you know there's spirit around you, when you get tingly, you know God is in your life. The spirit is there. When you get that tingly feeling, read a list of jobs, and the minute something starts to tingle, you go, yes. And you might end up with 4 jobs that you have seen. I don't know how many of you have done this. If you want to work in the nonprofit sector, go online, and there's about 20,000 nonprofit jobs. And you just go pling, 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 and when one hits you and you get a tingle, mark it and go all the way down. You might get as many as 20, then you go back and read them again. And pretty soon you're going to get that feeling that, have you ever had, as I started out earlier today, that feeling that that's the person for you and you get a tingle? That's the same way looking for a job. Wait for that tingle. That's your spiritual guidance helping you find a job. I'm sorry, I don't do kitty cats. Kitty cats themselves don't know. Okay, you might think your cat knows everything, but I can tell you honestly, it doesn't. Sometimes it's just doing things. They take it for a reaction. Okay, I'd watch it carefully because it's got a little bit of it's negative. There's a little bit of negative energy around something in the house. So really watch your kitty and see what it's up to. Someone wants to make the world a better place. I think I've talked about that since I started my sermon this morning. Somebody wants to find out how do they get more successful with their painting. What you need to do is start having people come in and look at it and tell you. People who know about painting. You know, for me, painting is good if it has color in it. I don't do well with anything black and white, but talk to somebody who knows something. We have more people who've taken art classes around in this valley that aren't doing anything with them. I wish they'd all get together and talk to each other because we've got amazing talent in this valley. And so find somebody else who's an artist and who doesn't mind criticism so you can talk to them and then turn around and let them talk to you. And don't let criticism drive you away, let it build you better. This person wants to meet Dolly Parton, so do I. That's a great question. Will I meet Dolly Parton? They say only if you go where she is. Okay, well, that's a nasty answer. But seriously, Dolly isn't as open as she appears. Thank you, Mom. Dolly isn't open as she appears in all sorts of different things. So what you want to do is you want to go where she is, or Dollywood isn't it. She doesn't spend much time there. But find out whether there's going to be a concert. Write a very loving letter to her. And that's the best way to meet her because she does read her mail. How my spirit guide knows that, I have no idea. I think we were talking about election results. We did that, of U.S. relationships internationally. Yeah, the U.S. isn't as looked upon as nicely as we think it is. There's a lot of countries that they're tired of us telling them what to do when our own backyard isn't in that good a shape. And how many of you have had that, where a neighbor comes to tell you that you need to cut your tree and they've got garbage all over there, you don't like it when somebody does that. Well, the same thing's going on with the U.S. We have to clean up our yard, and we have to clean up our messes. We've got a lot of things going on that you don't even know about. I want to mention one that Ma talked to me about. He said that the reason, and this is one of the takeaway. He said, what we don't know, that there are people from the United States who've gone through South America saying, if you want to get out of all this, go to the United States, they're going to welcome you with open arms. We have rabble-rousers in other countries on TV when they're showing ads of, beautiful tanned people getting a great dip in the pool. They say, this could be you. Imagine doing that to people who are having problems with the government, don't have enough food, don't have schools for their children, to see these ads saying what a good life they'll have if they get to the U.S. Something is driving people up here because they're looking for a better life. And they are seeing on TV screens that they can automatically get it when they get here. I think that's appalling that we have political groups that are triggering people in other countries. I am all for people coming here from other countries. I think that the immigrants, we're all immigrants, let's face it. I'm not, okay? Only reason I say that because my ancestors signed the Declaration of Independence, so our family's been here for a while, you know. But I mean that because one of my ancestors was no good scoundrel, okay? So that was the one that was the immigrant, I guess, I don't know. But think about it. We have to help the people that are immigrants because all of us have immigrated from somewhere. Find a way to help and send out this loving energy and say, we can help you, but we can't help you in blocks of 5,000 at a time. See what you can do to help the immigration system, even if it's just helping with clothing, food, whatever, because these people are being sold a bill of goods and being sold hope. And that is so difficult to take away from people. I am sorry, I'm having trouble reading this. Something about Milpitas. I don't know. COVID's effects in schools. Okay, yes, COVID is still affecting schools. And they're having a hard time with that. They don't know quite what to do. This is one of those things that keep abreast. If you have kids that are school age, keep abreast of what's going on and decide what you want to do and if you want to do home teaching, because there is a problem with COVID is really hitting the schools again. And know that, all teachers, I think, should have a vote of confidence from, even if you don't have kids in school, if you meet a teacher, bless them. I mean, how many of you got to where you are educational-wise because of a good teacher? I mean, I sure did. I mean, I think everybody has. Teachers need support, not just from parents of kids that are in their class, but from the country, from the schools themselves. So help with that. We talked about the election, and Donald Trump is going to be hitting a lot of repercussions, and a lot of them are going to be reversed. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all. I think Corky, are these just breeding here, or are you dropping them in when I'm not looking?
Dropping them in and people hand them.
Somebody is writing a book on retirement. Hallelujah. And right now, will it be successful? Not unless you get an agent. You can't sell it on your own. Sorry. You've got to get somebody who's going to go out and sell it for you. Unless you can get on a TV show or do a podcast, it's not going to sell. Nobody's going to know about it. It's a great title. They want to write a book on retirement, and that's how it will be successful. But you need to get somebody out there pushing it for you, and that's the way it's going to happen. 2024 we are getting rain. It's going to be a lot of rain. So keep your raincoats and umbrellas handy. Hallelujah. They needed eyelid surgery. My guide says that's the best thing you're ever going to do for yourself. It's going to, when you look in the mirror, you're going to like your looks. How many of you like your looks when you look in a mirror? Raise your hand. How many like your looks? Hallelujah. You know, I personally take a shower, stand in full length mirror, look at it and go, hello, gorgeous. Okay, am I lying to myself? No. I'm a gorgeous woman, okay? Because I know it. Now, you might not believe it, but that's your problem, okay? But start looking at that. If you have something like that you know can surgically be done, do it. Don't worry about what are people going to think. They won't even notice, but you will. And that's what you need to do, is notice how you look and do the things that you need to do to get it. Okay, Mother Earth wants a lot of things from us. We talked about that very early. Sorry you missed it. Yeah, people still are concerned about Mother Earth. I've got a lot of those about it. Start talking to people about looking into desalination for water, so they don't keep digging for water at deeper depths. The lower we go for oil and water, the more we mess up Mother Earth, because she can't recover. But if you only dig something a short distance, she can recover from it, okay? Alrighty, well, I want to thank you all so very much, and if you ever want to, whoops, wait just a minute, Joan. Were you telling me that Ed was waving his hand at me? Okay, Ed, what do we have on Zoom?
Nice that you asked. Okay, and do you need names if we're going to post?
No, I don't need names.
So just go with it.
They know who they are.
Okay. I am wondering if I'm going to be able to walk and move around more easily soon into this new year.
We might need names. I got 10 people that are responding to that.
Yeah, I have that question.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay, how about the initials? DM. Okay, how about more letters on Diane?
Okay, yes. But you need to get out more and you need to walk more right now the way it is. Stop waiting for the miracle and start doing the work.
Okay. Someone from Chico, that's all
Okay.
I'm going to say. What do I need to know going into 2024?
What you need to know is that you're in a good position. Things are going to get better. You've been stuck there for a while and it's driving you crazy, but things are going to be moving. And but start looking at something out of the country, because that's where your heart really is.
Okay. And from Valerie, how is my year going to be? Pretty much wondering about love, money, health, friends, etc., whatever shows up.
Well, one of the things that your life has already started getting better, and that started this year in December. Things are moving for you, so let's take it step by step. Keep moving and keep working. Work makes you happy, and we see that there's more and more people that are going to come into your life. Seek out love. Don't wait for it to find you. Oh, I like that. I'll remember that one. Seek out love. Don't wait for it to find you. Okay, go.
Okay, from Ann C. What are the best alternative healing modalities to bring in that will harmonize best with the mainstream treatments as I travel my healing journey?
What Ma says is stop fighting what people are saying you need. Stop fighting it. Start saying, okay, and do research. If a doctor says you need to do X, research it. Go online. You can find out all about it instead of automatically saying, no, I don't want it. Find out what it's going to do for you. In other words, do self-help. Finding out what people are recommending for you.
Okay, from Sky, I would like to know from Ma about how much longer the coronavirus is going to be present on this.
Forever. Ma says that this virus is very much like what polio did. If we don't get everybody some type of vaccination, cure, or whatever, it's just going to keep replicating. And so, see, for me, at my age, I had smallpox shots and polio shots, and I've never had smallpox or polio. But smallpox was still around when I was born, and we eradicated it. And so, but everybody there, the government said you have to do this. The government's not doing that this time, so I don't know. Ma says that somebody's going to have to say that whatever it is that is going to protect you from getting it, it's got to be a big enough blanket to protect everybody.
Okay, and from Tamara, is the World Health Organization going to be successful taking over governments?
World Health Organization would be horrible at taking over governments. It's not. But what it's doing is trying to get governments to take care of their people. So that's a difficult question because some other people could see that as taking over. They're not. The World Health Organization is doing a lot of forced education. Forced education. Okay. I don't know. Yes.
From Cheryl, what is the main thing I should pay attention to in 2024?
Your health. Cheryl, your health still needs to be number one, and asking and reaching out and letting people help you. Don't just sit there and say, it'll be okay. You need to reach out and get people to help you.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Well, I'm so glad to have new people come in, and for those of you who arrived after church kind of ended, I have a spirit guide that I've been channeling. I'm a medium, and I've been channeling a spirit guide since I was 5 years old, and his name is Mahalalel, and he's quite a character. And you heard him answering questions, and this is something that I find is a gift for me. And for those of you who say, I don't have a guide, yes you do. You'll know it by every once in a while you'll see something and you get a tingly feeling. That tingly feeling is you have a guardian angel, a guide, a presence, whatever you want to call it. That, our Creator didn't say, okay, I'm going to send you to Earth and mess around and I don't care. Gave us a protector, and that's called your guardian angel or your guide. You can all talk to that being. And the way you know that being is around is because you get to feeling a little bit tingly. Things feel brighter, and you'll sense that you're not alone. And reach out. I just finished training ministers, and that was one of the classes I taught was how to get in touch with your spirit guide. Because we are spiritual beings. Take the time to find out who you are so that this will be a lovely 2024. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Donna.
And now, and what's happening over there, Gabrielle?
Well,
And the basket.
like I mentioned before, if you want to start your food revolution now, we have really healthy food. We have salads, hard-boiled eggs, and then if you don't want to start your food revolution, we have hot dogs, we have all kinds of other stuff. We have fried chicken, you name it, we have it. And I want to thank everyone who brought food. And there's plenty of it, so please eat.
Okay, thank you so much, Gabrielle. Thank you, Billy the Paint Setter. Yes. Oh, we would like to pass our basket for, Tim, could you pass the basket too? And Brianna, you'll go down some line and you can go down another. Okay. You're our guest. Just bless it. It's fine. Thank you. It's so nice having you here.
Thank you so much. I know it's been hard.